I'm Lisa, the artist behind Lachri Fine Art. It is Tuesday, so I'm here to critique one of your original paintings or drawings. If you have an original painting or drawing that you would like to submit for critique, head over to my website, lachri.com/critiques. That link is below in the video description, and you can submit your work there. There is a very long waiting list, so if you want some tips on your artwork sooner than that, you may want to post over in either our Google Plus or our Facebook groups. I will put links to both of those below in the video description, and there are other artists who can give you some tips. This week's submission comes from artist Farrah Mathis. This was her very first colored pencil piece. She's obviously done other artwork, but never in colored pencils before. She completed this portrait of Taylor Swift using Prismacolor colored pencils. What? My first colored pencil portrait, which I doubt I even have anymore, didn't look like this. This is awesome. You did such great work, especially blending her skin tone, getting that very soft transition from one shadow to the next. Beautiful work. I love the way that you've done the highlights on her hair as well. Taking a look at a few things we can adjust to improve on this even more. Remember, when you're drawing people or animals, the only animals really that you're going to use the color yellow in, or the color by itself yellow, like a yellow pencil. I don't mean mixing yellow in with other colors, but wow, I derailed that. Anyway, the only time you're really going to use the yellow pencil or a straight yellow color in a portrait or in an animal are pretty much going to be for fish, birds, and flowers. Not the flowers are animals. Yellow itself for fur colors, for hair, not natural. Even with my hair, I would not use a yellow pencil for any of what I've done to myself. So my first tip when drawing portraits, just don't even touch your yellow pencils. Unless it's for the clothing, that is not a color you really need to use. Now, I don't have your reference photo, but I was able to easily look up which photo this came from because your drawing is that awesome. So this was the photo I found online, and if we look at the difference in her hair color, you've got browns, grays, and tans versus yours, which are more yellow, kind of orangey. So big difference there on the color. Whenever you're drawing blonde hair, the majority that you're going to be using are various shades of grays, occasionally some purples. You will have other colors in there, but you're pretty much never going to use yellow unless there's a yellow light bulb shining on the person's head. For the drawing, for her face, there are a few things that are a little bit off. Her cheek on the one side comes out too far, so it widens her face quite a bit. You've got her upper lip on the one side is too much of her lip is showing, where it should kind of fade into just the skin of her face before it meets the bottom lip. The next thing would be her nose. This one's kind of a big deal because right now you have the nose just going straight up and it stops. Noses don't do that. Noses continue around up to the eyebrow. So you're missing that whole section where it connects, and so the nose, the way that you've got this straight line, it looks like the nose is too far off to the side, when really it's just that you didn't finish it off where it kind of connects to the other side, and that there's more of a shading between that side of her nose and where it fades into her cheek. And I know it's partly covered by her bangs, so that does make it a little hard to see. But look at photos of people where the hair is pulled back, how that nose just, when you're at an angle, it comes up and connects with that eyebrow right there. And you want to make sure that you're doing that in your portraits as well, so that the nose doesn't just stop out of nowhere. The next thing would be for her eyes. You've got them where they kind of droop down. They should curve up a little bit on the inside corner. And you may be thinking, how do you even notice that? That's such a minor thing. The more you paint and draw, the more these things are going to start standing out to you. But they are things that are important enough that you want to pay attention to them. An easy thing that you can do to make sure that your drawing is more accurate, flip your work upside down and look at it upside down next to the reference photo. Reference photo also being upside down. It'll make it much easier for you to notice the shapes instead of in your head, you're going to have a tendency to go, okay, I'm drawing an eye. It looks like an eye. I'm good. I'm done. Turn it upside down. Look at the shapes. Make sure your shapes and your lines are curving as they should based on that photo. Another thing that you may not be thinking too much about when you're painting or drawing portraits are the ears. Their ears, it's just a line and then a little line inside. And no, you want to put the details. Everybody's ears are going to look a little bit different. Watch where the highlights and the shadows are on that reference photo, because your face, everything else on the face is super realistic. If you kind of rush over the ears, that definitely pulls down the entire portrait. So notice those little curves, those little highlighted areas on the ears. Those are all very important, just as much as everywhere else on the face. My last tip is on the shading and highlights. You've got your colors are actually really good. You're missing a lot of the highlights though. Well, there's two things going on. One, you're missing the shadow under the jaw. That I would definitely hype up that shadow there. It'll separate her neck from her face beautifully, and I do like that about the reference photo. The next thing is that you're missing a lot of the highlights. You've got your darker colors in the skin, but you're missing the highlighted portions of her cheek, of the cheekbone, down the bridge of her nose, and on her chin. Watch some videos on contouring, makeup contouring for women. These aren't art videos, they're makeup videos, but watch where women intentionally add shadows and highlights, because that is what you're going to want to do in your portrait. And I think when you see how these videos are creating the illusion of higher cheekbones with where they're adding the shadows, it really, that information can be translated into your portraits in a way that I think often makes more sense than some of the art videos that you'll watch. Watch contouring videos. In this case, all you would want to do is take your white pencil and highlight her cheek and her cheekbones, highlight those areas that need to be a lot lighter, and that's going to give your work so much more dimension. But this, you are off to such an amazing, amazing start, this being your first colored pencil piece. I'm so impressed. Great, great work. Hey, wait, don't leave. Have you subscribed yet? If not, there's a button right there. It's round, orange arrow. Can't miss it. If you hit that, it'll help you to keep up to date with all 5 of my new art videos every single week. I'll see you guys tomorrow.